I'd like to call this meeting of the Development Review Board to order. And to kick it off, we're going to introduce ourselves, starting with
Joe Kiernan, board member.
Meredith Crandall, staff.
Kevin O'Connell, board member and acting chair.
Go ahead, Catherine.
Catherine Burgess, board member.
Brian Jones, board member.
Okay, thank you. So, we have, the procedures.
Yeah, I've got to do that. You've got one under
Yeah,
there.
I
That
do.
mixed you up.
Okay.
I need 2 pieces of paper.
And excuse me for being so rusty. I haven't done this in a while, and only because I was drafted.
And we appreciate it greatly.
And we're going to go through the procedures for remote attendance, and I'm going to turn it back over to Meredith.
All right. So for everyone on remotely tonight, I'm going to do a little share screen. And the stuff on the screen is actually more for those who, I may have to wing it. Those who are watching via Orca Media, but there's information for everybody who's on remotely to understand. So for tonight's meeting of the Development Review Board, if you are watching via Orca Media and want to participate in tonight's discussion, you can do that via the Zoom platform through either video or telephone access options. If you want to have the full video experience, you can type this link into your web browser. Alternatively, if you want to dial in via phone, and you can do this over any phone, you can dial this number and when prompted, put in this meeting ID. Either of those options that you choose, I will get a prompt to let you into the meeting, and I will do so. If someone is trying to get into the meeting and having problems, please email me at mcrandall@montpelier-vt.org. I will be monitoring my email throughout the meeting. For everyone attending remotely, turning on your video is optional. And actually, if you're having problems hearing, or it seems like we're having problems hearing you, turning the video option off will often resolve those issues. We ask that if you're not speaking to please keep your microphone on mute. This will reduce background noise and possible conflicts over different microphones. If you're not no matter what, if you're an applicant and you're on remotely, please wait to talk until your application is up before the board. If you're someone who has a question or comment about application on the agenda, please make sure to raise your hand and wait until the chair calls on you to talk. And when you do speak, please make sure to state your full name and address for the record. This is especially important for the applications that aren't sketch plan review, because we need to be able to have your name and address so that we can send you copies of the board's written decision when it comes out. Please reserve the chat function in Zoom for technical issues only. Anything substantive about one of the items on the agenda needs to be brought up verbally. Should anyone have members of the public have difficulty accessing the meeting, and I would find out about this via email, then the meeting will need to be continued to a time and place certain because we have to be able to let members of the public in. I will now hand the meeting back over to the chair.
Just to let you know, the 2 applications that we have for Elm Street and for Marvin, excuse me. Those we have only a bare bones quorum this evening, 4 of us, and in order to have an affirmative result from your application, you would need all 4 members present to vote in that way. So if you want to continue, we would be happy to entertain that as an option. We can certainly take evidence prior to that that we're gonna let you make your own decision on that. But I want you to be fully aware that's the situation this evening. So with that, the approval of the agenda for tonight. And I will entertain a motion from a board member, one of the other three.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second the motion.
And those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, so the agenda has been accepted. So let's see. No comments from me, which is the next item on the agenda. Comments from the chair. I have none. Were you suggesting swearing in everybody for all applications?
No.
Okay,
That was sort of a substep.
okay.
for
So
each.
we're ready to move into the application
Yeah.
part of our agenda, and the first one on that on the agenda is for Marvin Street, 0 Marvin Street, owner applicant Tim and Donna Haney, and review.
Tim.
Yeah. Please do, Tim, and
And we have Donna on remotely and Jeff Oleski. So they're all part of the applicant team. And it looks like Sophie, at least remotely, was on to maybe comment. Is there anybody else in the room to comment on the Marvin Street application?
I don't have any comments, but I also live next door.
Okay.
okay. And for those that are going to testify this evening, I'll have to swear you in. Is there anybody here other than the applicant that wants to comment on this specific application for Marvin Street?
I would like to, yes, please.
Oh, yeah, Jeff will need to be sworn in. Sophie,
Could you-
did you think you were gonna ask a question or make comments?
I don't think so. I really just want to hear because I'll be living right next to Tim and Donna. So just wanted to hear what was happening.
Okay, so with that, those that are going to testify on this application this evening, I please ask you to raise your right hand. And do you attest that the information you're about to give in the matter pending before this board is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. And so the applicant make their presentation, or do you want to do you first?
I mean, I'll just be sort of procedural overview. And
Well,
then they can, whichever one you
why
want to
don't
do. You're the chair, you get to pick.
Oh, boy. I'm going to turn it back to you
Okay.
and let you do that technical review.
All right, so this is just a quick procedural overview and then either Tim or Jeff, whoever can go into the details. So this application for 0 or 20 Marvin Street, technically E911 purposes, it's still 0, but it's been referred to as 20 for a while, is before the board because there are several items that as the zoning administrator, I can't approve administratively. One, the project does involve enough slopes to trigger slopes review by the board. There's also a request for a waiver of the standard left side setback, really just to make room for some roof overhang. That turned out that the driveway being proposed has less than the minimum spacing to other driveways. The Department of Public Works is fine with that. And that's something that's been known about the parcel since it was subdivided in 2018 or 2019?
19?
19.
It's been a while now.
Yeah, but not long after I got here.
Yep.
And then there's some prior permit conditions from that subdivision approval that if it were just a stormwater plan, I could okay that. There's a stormwater plan in here that was a part of that prior permit condition, but there is also a landscaping sort of flow down that the board did of the subdivision landscaping requirements that I think this may be the only decision the board did that after the 2018 changes. Otherwise, they just said, hey, if it's subject to landscaping, run through the landscaping of chapter 320. And in this one, that's like first one, the board said, oh, this future development has to meet the section 3506 landscaping requirements. So it's kind of a funky one, but that's why it's before the board.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask the applicant to make your presentation as to what it is you'd like to do and how you plan to do it.
I think Jeff's, excuse me, Jeff's going to lead us through to start.
Okay, to start, could you introduce yourself for the record?
I'm Tim Heaney.
And, okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you, Tim. Could you make that
Basically,
presentation?
this is a lot we'd like to build a home on for ourselves. Jeff Lesky's done a lot of the engineering for us, and so maybe he'd be best to introduce it and address the issues.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. For the record, Jeff Oleski with Catamount Consulting Engineers, the civil engineer, one of the civil engineers for the project. The plans were put together by Chase and Chase or Chris Drinkoff, and I essentially supplemented in a professional capacity to help with the EPSC or the erosion prevention, sediment control, and stormwater management components of the project, given the conditions of the 2019 approval that were required in conjunction with this project. So happy to just give a very brief overview to the board and hand it back over to questions. But I didn't know, Meredith, if it's possible to share the existing and proposed condition site plan, just so I can briefly run the board members through that. Or is that something I can share if it's okay with you?
You should see if you can share it. You should be able to.
I had
Yeah,
to- I
there we
did
go.
that.
Woohoo.
Perfect. Let's see if we can do this.
Yeah, if for some reason it's finicky, I can always do it, but I find it's easier if the person who's talking has control over the mouse.
Absolutely. Can everybody see that there now on their screen or on the display?
Yeah, if you might want to zoom in a little if you
Yep.
can, just because it's kind of small, but hold on, I'll turn off the light.
Let's see if that works. That's a little tricky, but so yeah, as Meredith pointed out, this is again referred to as 0 or 20 Marvin Street. It is an existing, I think it's about 0.1 acre property, pretty small, undeveloped at this time. And this dark kind of trapezoidal perimeter you see in front of you is the rough property lines. This is Marvin Street on the south side of the property here. This is going up the hill on Marvin Street. And right now it's relatively undeveloped, or it is undeveloped. There's an existing kind of open grassed area on the south or front portion of the property. And then there's some trees on the back portion of the property here. And then it opens back up on the far north end of the property. And then there's an existing drainage line and a catch basin that collects drainage both off the north side of Marvin Road as well as from the south side of the adjacent road, as well as the municipal sewer line that runs east to west on the back of the property. So currently nothing on the property. That being said, I'll go to the proposed condition site plan now. But one last thing I do want to point out here is just from a grading standpoint, one of the reasons we're here tonight is that there are some steep grades on the property in excess of 25%. These dash lines you see kind of throughout the property are the contours. And so everything kind of, the existing conditions, everything kind of runs south to north on this property away from Marvin Road. And there's some kind of steeper slopes right here in the southwest corner. And then it gets a little steep here as we run off the property to the north. And so part of both the 2019 subdivision requirements as well as general city regulations require that a engineered stormwater management plan be in place, specifically to ensure that the pre and post stormwater runoff from a 25-year rain event be equal to or less than post-construction as opposed to pre-construction. And then also an appropriate erosion prevention and sediment control plan be prepared in conjunction with the development of this property so that we ensure that during construction there's no discharge of sediment or erosion or anything that's going to adversely affect the adjacent properties. So that being said, I'm gonna pull up the proposed condition site plan here. And let me zoom in on this. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So The shaded area you see here in front of you is the proposed building footprint. It is a roughly 1,750 square feet of building. I'm not sure. I think it's proposed as a 2-bedroom residential home. Tim, is that correct?
3.
3-bedroom. Okay, 3-bedroom home with a driveway directly off of Marvin Street here on the west side of the property frontage. And long story short, given the existing grades out there, we needed to essentially create a stormwater management plan that allowed for us to collect and slow down and infiltrate and treat some of the stormwater runoff before it exited the site. So in rough terms, what we've really done here is we've built up the front side of the property. The existing, or the proposed grades rather, have the driveway coming in at roughly the same grade as where it connects to Marvin Road, which is kind of close to the first story of the building. This is a 2-story building. The second level is at an elevation about 9 to 10 feet lower, that then comes out to the back of a walkout on the backside here with a little patio area on the north side of the building. And then it's about another 9 to 10 drop from that lower floor or the patio area down to the northern or lowest portion of the property. And what we were proposing, or what we've designed essentially, is a grading scheme that there's 2 grass swales, one that runs south to north on the east side of the property, as well as a small one that runs on the west side of the property, and then a larger stone conveyance swale that collects the majority of the front of the property and conveys that water safely down to a stone lined pretreatment forebay, which is located here in the northeast corner of the property, which then overflows into a infiltration basin that is kind of elongated and runs east to west on the north side of the property. And so this infiltration basin allows water to infiltrate into the groundwater. It is under drained just so that it can continue to provide that infiltration capacity and slow that water down. And there's an under drain within the stone wrapping underneath this infiltration basin that then is hard piped and connected to an existing catch basin just north of the property here. And then if this basin under larger rain events gets overwhelmed, there's an emergency spillway here within this basin area that would overflow and then also go into the existing catch basin here on the north side of the property. It's my understanding that Tim has procured stormwater as well as a sewer easement to connect to the existing catch basin and sewer manhole here just north of the property, so that under drain line would connect directly into this catch basin, and the sewer line from the house would also run out of the house and then directly connect into this sewer manhole here. We have done stormwater modeling with a HydroCAD software program, which is the same program we use for state stormwater design, and have confirmed that the post stormwater 25-year rain event conditions are significantly less, actually about half of what the pre-existing 25-year rain event discharges from the site. So we're fairly confident that we're not going to see any increase in runoff from the site or any adverse impact on the adjacent property owners or the stormwater system. From a erosion prevention sediment control standpoint, we're proposing quite a few things. One would be a stone construction entrance at the driveway here, so that we're making sure not to track sediment off of the property during construction. We'd be installing silt fence downslope of all earth disturbance as part of the project, and maintaining that until permanent vegetation was established. And then we'd also be stabilizing all of the banks or impacted area here on the north side of the property with topsoil, grass seed, fertilizer, and erosion control matting, and maintaining that until permanent vegetation was established, so that this would all be grassed in before any of those EPSC measures were removed. And then lastly, we'd have some temporary stone around the catch basin here to prevent any sediment getting into there before the site was stabilized. So that's how we proposed handling those kind of stormwater management EPSC requirements. With regards to the other couple items that Meredith brought up as part of the reason we're here tonight, there is regarding the setback requirements, on this side. You can see this dashed dot line here. That is the zoning requirement for a setback. As you can see, the kind of foundation or the building walls of the property of the proposed building are within that, but there are overhangs of the roof that encroach out there. So I believe this is intended to be a 10-foot side yard setback, and I think we're looking at about 8.5 feet. So a 1.5 foot waiver request in conjunction with the proposed building. And then the other component of all that was just the proximity of this driveway to the adjacent driveway. There's kind of a minimum requirement. Unfortunately, given I think this lot's only about 60 feet wide along the frontage from the southwest to the southeast property corner here. I'm not sure there was a way to make a driveway comply here with the zoning requirements. So no matter where we put it, it wasn't going to comply. But given the fact that this is I think it's a 25 mile per hour, if not lower, roadway. It's a very low volume, very low speed. And I think the site distances are appropriate here based on our review, as well as the comments from Department of Public Works. They didn't see any issue with adding an additional curb cut here. And this lighter gray area would be the driveway into the garage bay you see here. So I think that's the gist of it. I will turn it over to the board with any questions, unless Tim has anything to add beforehand.
Tim?
Thanks, Jeff. Really, it's a small lot and has a lot of challenges. I think the overhangs are a result of, if we had a nice rectangular lot, we wouldn't have needed to be making this ask, but because of the angles of the lot lines from the street back, trying to make the house fit and also meet the current energy codes with thicker wall construction than we initially thought about. That's why we have that slight infringement into that area.
Okay, thank you. Meredith, is there anything you'd like to, from a technical standpoint, like to see addressed?
Give me 1 second, 'cause I think that the thicker walls with the energy code might be a new little tidbit to make sure I put in the
Okay,
decision.
board members, both present and remote, do you have any concerns at this point? Any questions?
The presentation was helpful. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your attentiveness.
I guess I just have one question, and it's just more of a general comment for applications that are similar to this that we may see in the future.
Yep, go ahead.
When we were looking at the location of the driveway, I was just trying to check the street to see if there was a pattern, for example, to see if, that minimum spacing could be maintained, because all the driveways, for example, happen to be on the left-hand side of the lot, right? So then you would follow that pattern, but I don't see a pattern there. And so I don't think it's a bad location. That's not what I'm saying, but I was just wanted to bring that up so folks could think about it. And then the question is, was the location of the driveway on the other side of the street also something that was considered in the review? Because it looks like they're going to be right across from each other, and I don't think that's a problem, but I guess I'm asking the question if that was kind of what the standard review is, I guess, when you have driveways that are right across from one another.
So I don't know if Tim wants to weigh in. I can say, unfortunately, I didn't necessarily have any input on the layout of this building or the driveway. I was really involved with the stormwater management component of all this, but I will say, from a general both local and state review concept, generally speaking, having driveways directly across from each other is more appropriate than having them staggered. Just from a driving conflict standpoint, if two cars are trying to exit or enter at the same time, they're more visible to each other, and so they can be aware and give each other right away or whatnot. Whereas if they're a little bit staggered, you cannot be paying attention and back into each other a little bit. So I do agree, as far as relative to the same side of the street, you want them as far away as possible. But I think the reason behind location of this one was A, because it was directly across from an existing driveway, and then B, the natural grade on this property was higher on the left side, so it was an easier grading scheme and led to less severe slopes throughout the site by putting the driveway on the left side as opposed to the right side, because we would have had to fill the right side of the lot considerably to make the grade work on this driveway if that was the direction we went in. So I don't know, Tim, if you have anything to add, because I wasn't part of that decision-making process, but I imagine that's some of the things that Chase and Chase incorporated into the decision-making process, along with whatever you and your architect came up with.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We started with our architect when they looked at it with an open canvas, and the two different architects in the same firm came up with the same concept. And then we went to Chase and Chase.
Hey, thanks. I'm seeing the site now and that pretty dramatic grade change you're talking about. I think it's a good choice.
Okay, anything else, board?
For the record, I think it's also worth pointing out that even if the driveway was on the other side, still would be in conflict. It would
Yeah.
still be within the minimum distance. So there really isn't anywhere along that frontage that would be more than 45 feet away from the driveway that's directly across.
Right, that's true. But the conflict intensity is going to be quite minimal,
Yes.
being the location and the type of development that it is. Anybody else have any comment, concerns that with regards to this application?
I'd say just a comment for the record for Meredith.
Yeah.
Just in the, as we're looking at patterns here and considering other applications, the fact that it's such a short street, to me, it seems it's generally relevant here. I don't think there's anything in the regs around length of street. So I just wondered if next time we're doing revisions, that could be a relevant thing to keep in mind. So.
I mean, there's just as a general commentary, I think there's going to be a push to make sure that more of the zoning regulation, street standard, related provisions tie into the Department of Public Works, street standards and the complete streets plan. And so that's the aim. So, and some of that will take into consideration the length of a street or the population on a street and adjusting requirements related to that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, with that being said, and all interested parties have made appropriate comment.
Any double check on questions from the public?
Any further questions that have not been addressed by a board or by the public? And if not, we could move.
I do have one outstanding
Please.
item. I just wanted to make sure that there was nobody from the public. So I would like the board to, because I didn't necessarily make a determination about it, I don't think, is the whole question about the landscaping. Unfortunately,
Okay,
that is
yep.
one of those holdovers from the decision. Where the condition on the permit was, oh goodness, I'm trying to find the exact language, but that it needed to demonstrate compliance with section 3506F on landscaping. And that requires, it's on page 6 of the staff report, what that standard is. And, generally speaking, this project for a single family home would not be subject to any landscaping requirements. And
Yep.
the board has been sort of just and all the other applications sort of waiving that requirement because they really felt it needed to be left to full site design and planting choice and understanding, coordination with neighbors, things like that. There's clearly going to be a whole bunch of work here with the stormwater.
Right.
And so deciding on those plantings seems to be a big thing, but we wouldn't normally require a landscaping plan for somebody who's just doing a single family home. So
Right.
I don't know what that board wants
So
to do there.
where are you suggesting that it go, Meredith?
This is one of the ones I don't know.
in which case I'll make a determination as chair that, that it's not relevant to the, process that we're addressing tonight.
Um,
waiting-
I mean, the board just needs to make a full determination on that and how they feel about it.
Okay.
I could definitely
board-
hear your opinion.
Catherine and Brian, do you have any concerns about the issue that Meredith was addressing?
I'm not concerned with it. And I think the question is, could it be, and I'm asking this to Meredith, could it be removed as a requirement based on our judgment tonight, meaning no screening would be required per 3506? Is that what you're asking, Meredith?
I mean, to be fair, you're making your concerns and determination based upon a concern at the time.
Right, so what I have done here is brought forward what a prior permit
Yeah, right.
stated.
And do we need to do that? I mean, it's a 0.1 acre.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
it's tiny parcel.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where single family homeowners, generally, we say, you can take your time and figure out what
Yeah.
you want to plant where.
And I think we should, unless there's objection, I think that's where we should go.
Do we need to make a motion to remove it, Meredith?
I don't think so. I don't think you have to make a motion. It's the whether you're accepting the application as it was put forward, right? And saying, you know what? And if the board is saying we don't, and you can tell me, you know, if all four of you are like, yeah, this isn't something we have to consider, I put that in here as a finding of fact and it becomes part of the decision. It doesn't have to be specifically called out as a condition.
But it's part of the.
Yeah, it's part of the underlying
Right.
findings of the
Right.
board, if you decide that this is not a place to do this.
Right, I think in the interest of trying to make the process fit the issue that we're dealing with, that seems like a good way to approach it. We're not ignoring it,
Yeah.
but we're not gonna burden the applicant with conditions that would be above and beyond the utility of the project.
Yeah, I wasn't a board member back then, but imagining they put that stipulation in there during the subdivision process out of an overabundance of caution.
Yeah, I think
suppose.
that's what it was. I mean, I have a recollection of it, and I think that we have enough travel time on this particular issue, if you will, that that we're not going to ignore it, but we're going to put it in the technical record.
Yeah, I'm comfortable moving forward without it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small little lot. I mean, the stormwater is the issue that I'd be most concerned about. And that you've put a lot of attention into that. And so, I mean, we can give you the same kind of pass with that. Right.
Instead of that phrasing, would the board be happy with me also throwing in something about this being a situation of equity in relation to the other two parcel subdivisions that have been approved under that same set of rules since that 2019 decision? Where the landscaping was said to be responsibility of future development if it required it under site plan?
I think that sounds good, Meredith.
We have to hear you, Catherine.
Sorry,
Catherine?
I had a background noise issue. Yeah, I agree. That sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, so we have all four of us
Awesome.
are on board with that particular approach.
Thank you.
Side back.
Okay, so hearing that we've no further comments or concerns from the public or the board, I think we could probably move ahead into the final approval.
Entertaining motion. All right. I'll make the motion. A motion to approve construction of a single-family home and garage at 20 Marvin Street or 0 Marvin.
It's, yeah, I mean, you could say 0.
At
Sorry.
0
I
Marvin.
was having a hard time
What-
going back and forth.
What do you call it, Tim?
We've been calling it 20 because that's what we.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's referred to generally as 20. It does not have that as an official
Well,
address or and the
Official,
assessors.
official would occur as soon as the structure was cast. And it would follow the USPS,
E911.
yeah, E911.
Yep.
So 20.
No, say 0.
Okay. Motion to approve construction of a single-family home and garage at 0 Marvin Street as presented in application Z-2025-0060 and supporting supplemental materials, including waiving the left side setback requirement to no more than 8.5 feet, subject to the following conditions of approval. The final EPSC plan shall be filed with the zoning administrator that includes the reference to the access easement requested by Director Modica prior to issuance of the zoning permit.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I just have one question for
You
clarification.
have to have a second and then you can have discussion.
Yep.
Oh,
I'll second.
Okay, Catherine, we have a motion by Joe, and a second by Catherine. And okay, we can now discuss.
okay, sorry about that.
That's
I'm
okay.
in support of this moving forward, but I think that language wasn't quite right because it referred to the setback as a minimum of 8.5 feet when the issue at hand is really just that minimum projection into the side yard in those few places. So I don't,
Right, so
if that
it's,
language moved forward, it might suggest that the whole setback of the building could move to 8.5. Anyway. Is that what you were getting to?
so the design, no, the designs, well, my issue was, I think actually in the staff report, I've been saying left side setback and it's actually the right side setback, because isn't it the right side as you're looking at the property?
Yes, that's my interpretation, Meredith.
Yeah, so it was
Actually,
on one of the
on the phone.
forms, I think, is left side, but then you were referring to it as right side. So we could just say the,
Side setback. with
well,
sort of 18.
For the submitted plan,
well.
Or 22.
Sorry,
I should-
brain, north, east side setback.
There we go.
So because, and Brian, to your question, because this is all about the plans as submitted, they can't suddenly move the whole building to within 8.5 feet. It's with relation to the plans.
Right. And I didn't think Tim was gonna do that. But again, I thought it was specific to the roof overhang, so I wanted to hear that language. If you don't think it's necessary, then I think we should keep moving full steam ahead.
I mean, you could say right side setback requirement for the roof overhang to no more than 8.5 feet. Does that sound good?
Do I need to like accept that amendment?
So Brian needs to make the amendment, propose the amendment specifically.
Okay. I propose that we amend the language to speak to the roof overhang.
And I accept.
Yeah.
Okay, we have,
Oh,
yeah, we've had the motion, we had a second and then discussion, and then we modified the motion to approve. So that's where we are at this point, and there's no further discussion. And we're gonna vote. I'm gonna do the vote. So please indicate by when I call your name. Joe,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and the chair also votes yes, and the project is approved.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Okay,
you. Tim. I know this was a process.
It's been a long process.
It's not quite over yet, right? Official decision will be written. But Yep, that was, so, and I think that Chris had already conferred with Kurt about, yes, including that, showing that easement on the EPSC plan. So I just need those, and it really was just a reference to where that easement was recorded, needed to be included in the notes.
That's the recorded profile. So
Yeah, so it's just adding those notes. So if you get me that, then at any day, then as soon as the decision is signed, we'll be able to also issue the permit at the same time. All right? Thank you.
Look at the project.
And we'll be in touch because I don't think you filed for the building permit yet. We'll wanna, yeah, we'll get Nick and Michelle to coordinate with you on that one, but we have plenty of plans. Thanks, Tim.
Okay, we're all set.
Thank you everyone for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.
The next application on our agenda this evening is for 508 Elm Street. The owner and applicant is David Carlson. Is David Carlson here today? And the request is for a second driveway at less than minimum spacing. Okay, so we haven't not sworn you in yet. Is there anybody who wants to testify on this application? I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand and signal in the affirmative to this statement. Do you attest that the information you are about to give in the matter pending before this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Just you. Meredith, can you please?
You kind of already did the matters before the board because it's requesting a second driveway, which I can't approve, and is requesting that new driveway be at less than a minimum spacing.
Okay,
You summarized it already.
all right. And Ms. Carlson, would you like to give us a history and the approach that you took for this project, for this request?
Certainly. Thank you. I currently live at 508 Elm Street and have lived there for 10 years. In the past couple of years, we've been working toward renovation of that property to have more space. We have a growing family, so we're looking to expand. As part of that, we worked with a local designer, Will Shabam, who came up and worked around the site constraints to determine where to place the things that we needed for this project, including detached garage, which goes on the north side of the house. I don't have any ability to share, but so in order to approach that driveway, we had initially approached the town and originally set forward this application to have a second driveway and to have it with an offset, to place it with an offset from the driveway across the street. Because that was our understanding, that was the path forward. Since then, after receiving feedback from the Department of Public Works through Meredith, thanks to Meredith, they did not believe that they would support that approach of having two driveways. But they did believe they would be okay with moving our existing entrance, moving our curb cut over, as long as it was in accordance with the standards that they were referencing. I can't remember the standard, but it has to do with actually situating driveways directly across from one another. So we spoke to our builder, and that's fine with us. So we wanted to amend that application to grassing over our original driveway and moving the curb cut so that it would be in accordance with the being across from the driveway, across the street, directly across the street.
But ending with two driveways.
No, so
this supersedes.
we would amend that. Yeah, so the initial application was for two driveways.
It was warned as two driveways.
Yeah, it was warned as two driveways.
Yeah.
But we got some late comments from the Department of Public Works last week that said that they are like, we can't, this is because it's on Elm Street, high traffic.
Yeah,
they really couldn't support 2 driveways for the parcel,
right.
but they can support the proposed new driveway location being the driveway.
Well,
And it still has to come before the board because the minimum spacing isn't something I can approve. It's less than minimum spacing because they actually want it directly across from the other driveway. So it still had to come before the board. I couldn't like withdraw it from you and approve it administratively. Just had a redesign based on DPW comments.
so what we're really here to do is to approve the application with the amendments recommended by DPW.
Yep.
That's your understanding?
That's my understanding as well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And where are we technically with regards to DPW?
So ultimately, before DPW issues their permit, they'll need more detail on that new curb cut design to make sure it complies with V-Trans. But otherwise, they are happy with what's presented in here based on the motion that I've got drafted down here.
Yeah, it's
Which is basically, and this is also because the application is also for the new garage. It's just that you guys wouldn't have to see the new garage.
because you can do that.
Because I could have approved
administratively.
that administratively,
Right.
but we wanted to just do it all together and save on multiple
Well, I think
fees and
we,
permits.
right, okay, that's fine, but I want to be certain that we have for the record that this acrobatics.
Yep, 100%. 100%. Original application was for 2 driveways in the new garage.
Right.
And based on recent comments from Department of Public Works.
And DPW is, I'm just saying it again, DPW is at this point in time satisfied with where this application as modified rests.
Yep.
And you as applicant understand that to be the case.
That's what I understand to be the
Yep,
case.
and that they will fine tune the driveway design for compliance with V-Trans standards as part of the process of getting the Montpelier construction and access permit from DPW.
Mhm.
And when that's redesigned, they will then submit that to me, and if needed, I can do, a minor administrative permit amendment if needed. As long as it's not a material change from what the board is approving tonight.
Okay, Brian and Catherine, do you have any comments or concerns or observations? I guess not.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your being clear and walking through the evolution of this application. I think it's important to have that on the record.
And the high five to Meredith. She did an excellent job on that. Anything else, board members? Anybody in the public here that, excuse me, that want to make a comment? Have anything addressed? I think we're pretty straightforward. We just need
Motion.
a motion and
Do that. All
we'll-
right, I'm gonna put forth a motion then. Motion to approve construction of a new garage and driveway with less than minimum spacing at 508 Elm Street as presented in application Z 2025-0062 and supplementing and supporting materials, subject to the following conditions of approval. 1, the original curb cut on the southern end of the frontage will be abandoned. 2, applicant will redesign the new driveway for compliance with V-Trans standards as required for a Montpelier construction access permit and submit the redesign to the zoning administrator prior to DPW permit issuance for an amendment to zoning permit Z 2025-0062 as needed.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Brian or Catherine, please.
I can second that.
Thank you, Catherine. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing that there is none, I will request that you raise your right hand, or excuse me, I'm sorry. Uh, uh, Signal in the affirmative to the motion. Joe,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
and the chair also votes yes. So you have your project.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So again, I have to do a written decision for it to be final. And then, so trying to work on these quickly over the next few days. Awesome.
Okay, you're welcome.
Feel free to start work with DPW on the final designs to meet their standards. Awesome.
You're
Thank you,
welcome. Okay. The last item on the agenda is a sketch plan review for 79 River Street. The owner and applicant are Steve and Dina Smead. And it's the project under consideration is a proposed 3-parcel subdivision. And just as a explanatory matter, sketch plan review is a informal review. It's the applicant can submit a project for review by the board without it being official. And you can receive comments or commentary from the board and from the public without actually being in the project approval stage. So, Meredith, would you mind, who's here on this, on 78 or 79 River Street? Could I,
Yeah, so if the applicant team could come up to the round table.
Yeah.
Because you'll be the primary. Come, okay. Awesome.
You just sit up there?
And you don't have to.
it's up to you.
It's up to you. And I'm sorry, my staff report says 2-parcel when it's 3-parcel.
Yeah, we don't swear you in for a sketch plan review.
Yeah.
So you're off the hook. You're not going to Alcatraz after all. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so Meredith, I'll just ask you to give her the
Quick run
the
over.
quick run over, right?
Yeah, so it's, I mean, you described the procedure of it being sketch plan. So it's proposing to take 1 parcel that actually has 2 zoning districts overlaying it and divide it into 3. I did just sort of as a little procedural high level point. I did confirm with the planning director of the city, Mike Miller, who also staffs the planning commission. And should this subdivision actually occur, then we would likely, the planning department would likely recommend to the planning commission that in the next set of zoning updates that the map be adjusted so that the 2 parcels that were up higher that are closer to the residential district be just in the residential zoning district. And that the new line between the residential, it was residential 6,000 and riverfront actually follow the east-west parcel line that you would be creating with this that was proposed on here, just to prevent, because we really don't like having parcels have more than 1 zoning district overlay them if at all possible. It makes for complicated situations. So just throwing that out there for future thoughts of the property owners. But no, it's a 3-parcel subdivision, multiple routes of access, and in general, I don't see any really red flags on it. There's some questions about best routes of vehicular access to one of the parcels, and there's outstanding questions on best potential routes to water and sewer, but there are water and sewer, city water and sewer lines around this parcel and serving this parcel on the lower end already. So it's all feasible.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Meredith. And DPW has taken their end to this as well, haven't?
At the beginning, there's gonna need to be some more consultation for sure,
Okay.
but yes, we got some comments from them. And it's just figuring out some details for best ways to do things for future development and making sure that those considerations are in the final application.
Okay, good, great. Would you like to kind of give the applicant's overview?
Sure.
And
Andrew McQueenie, Vermont Survey and Engineering, helping
okay,
Steve
yep,
and Dina.
yeah. And I'm assuming you're the Smedes
Yes.
behind us here.
Yeah, Steve and Dina.
Steve, okay.
I think there's others here. This is that right?
Just listening.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Okay,
So Meredith, the Conservation Commission has yet to weigh in on.
Yeah, they haven't, they should be reaching out to the Smedes about scheduling a meeting.
Okay.
And what agenda that they would be trying to put this application on, so that you can attend that meeting.
So I do have a sketch plan. Any of you wish to see it, or Kim Meredith, can you share that?
Yep, and they all have
We all
got it
have that.
before, they all
Yeah,
got it
okay.
last week when I
Yeah.
sent out the email, but I can share it on the screen. It doesn't show very well, because
a lot of lines, so a few lines and a lot of white.
yeah, it doesn't show very well once it goes through the projector. Sorry about that.
Okay,
If it looks better if you're on Zoom.
I don't know, on my computer screen, it
Yeah, I can
appears
see it.
pretty well, but it has something to do with the projector.
right. So there are somewhat steep slopes on what we're calling lot 2 and 3, the upper lots, that are divided by a perennial stream, which is quite a stream actually during flooding.
Yeah.
So the idea is not to cross that. Right now, there's an existing culvert that goes under the parking lot. It's on lot 1. And so this is why the access from Wheelock Street and from the end of Robert Street is proposed. And there are steep slopes, particularly on what's called lot 3 off of Robert Street. Pretty much making that the only place to build where that's shown there. Unless you could access from the lower, from an easement across lot 1, let's say, and you could potentially build there. There isn't, what's an upper, now is an upper parking lot for lot 1, but that would become part of lot 3. What other issues are there? There probably are some wet areas on lot 2, closer to Wheelock Street, yeah, but they're not currently shown as wetlands, right? But Meredith, you were saying that would need to be evaluated, or not? Not
By us.
City level.
The city, but I would say that you should probably reach out to the state and just see what the state considers.
Right.
Because, they may have some things that come up, but
Yep.
if it's not on our natural resources inventory map, Montpelier doesn't regulate it as a wetland or an issue.
Understood. We're obviously in the preliminary stage of this, and there has been outreach to neighboring property owners as to the potential for a boundary line adjustment as opposed to subdivision. And so that is a possibility moving forward as well.
What's the advantage of that versus subdivision?
I believe it's administrative approval.
Yeah. It's if a neighboring property wished to purchase, say, everything that's shown in lot 2, and they currently abut it, then they could purchase that and it would be a boundary line adjustment where we move their boundaries, we get rid of their shared boundary line and create these other ones, and it's administrative approval in my office, where they don't have to come back for a subdivision approval, because we're not creating any new parcels. It's 2 parcels and then it's still 2 parcels.
What does that do to a flood?
This
Sure.
isn't in the river hazard. It's up high in the hill, so there's no There's no, and it doesn't, there's no really evaluation of the stream in that situation. Because it's a boundary line adjustment. You're not creating a brand new parcel.
Okay.
You're taking a parcel that is already developable and just adding land
Just adding
to it.
Land to it, right.
Yep.
Right, I mentioned the word flood. This, it's quite a stream
Well,
in
I
the
mean,
springtime.
And we were finding out that many of the little brooks that are floating around are quite a bit more than that at times.
That's right, and maybe it gets even bigger over time, but don't think because of the topography, it's not jumping its banks onto either of the two proposed parcels up top. But who knows? I mean, someday the culvert that goes under that parking lot and River Street could have an issue, but it's kind of getting off track here.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, welcome any comments, concerns?
I have a concern. What are the long range general? Obviously, it's premature to talk about specific projects, but what are you thinking of for that parcel or parcels?
Single family resident,
So residential.
yes. Yeah. At this point, that's the plan.
Meredith, anything to?
Nothing,
Thoughts?
nothing really new. No, I mean, it's, zoning wise, I mean, I've laid out in the staff report that for zoning purposes, parcels are big enough to
Yeah,
have
they are.
more, but as has been said, there's restrictions based on topography and the stream, things like that, that are just going to make it more expensive to do anything really big on those parcels. But they could be developed with some residential, smaller scale residential, because you also have, especially on the Roberts Street side, you have the limitations of that being a dead end residential street right now. So we'll see where there's all the additional information that gets gathered from.
And it will continue to be a
Yeah,
dead end street with one
exactly.
more home off the end.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Catherine and Brian, weigh in on any comments or thoughts that you have?
No questions or comments?
Okay, Catherine?
Yeah. No additional contributions.
Okay. And there's no vote taken here.
Right.
Yeah, it is sketch plan review. And so, you can continue to develop and potentially modify your application before the process of the actual approval.
Great, thank you.
So,
Any public comments?
any public comments?
You don't have to be sworn in to make comments.
Yeah, you're free to say whatever you want.
Just need you at the microphone so we can have it for the minutes, that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
I do.
Oh, Brian has something.
Oh,
He's
go
raising
ahead,
his
Brian.
hand.
Yeah, it's one quick thing, and I know it's a sketch plan, so I think this is time to put it out there, but it's just a question about where that existing stream is and the kind of its significance. I see that the right of way actually notes that it's centered on that stream. And so this is really just a question for the engineers and the applicant, I guess. Does it make sense and is it possible, is it advantageous to choose a side of
Oh,
that stream and then do like a proper drainage of some sort that runs along the road rather than centering what looks like a new drive.
Oh,
Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I misunderstood. I saw the larger pavement at first, and I thought this was going to be a road, but I see
Nope.
these driveways here. Apologies.
it's okay. Yeah, no, those are the water setbacks from the stream.
Right, obviously. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Oh.
Did say that both these parcels without connection to municipal water and sewer.
Yeah, the specifics are not ironed out, but I can actually, I think I put the image in the staff report, but I can also pull it up. So page 9 of the staff report shows both the stream, the squiggly line through the parcel, but all the blue lines on there are water lines. All the orange are sewer lines. So there's a sewer line that comes up Robert Street. There's a water line that comes up Robert Street, as well as one that runs directly north-south through a bunch of parcels there. And then there's a water and sewer that run up Wheelock on the other side. So there, I mean, there are water and sewer lines not all around the parcel. It's just that whoever develops is gonna have to get service lines to where they want to build.
Right.
So it's gonna, in some cases, they might have to run them a ways, but it's doable.
Physically possible.
Yeah, physically
And one-
possible.
One right on Wheelock.
Oh, you gotta go to a microphone, sorry, so that when the recording secretary, I'm sorry, but yeah, Dina, if you just say your name and then,
Dina Smead,
thank you.
was saying that on Wheelock Street, all the houses that are on the one lot that we're proposing, the house would just follow the other houses right down, basically.
Yep.
So, the water and sewer would just come from the same, source.
Right.
It could be doable.
Yeah, that one's the easier one to
Be
develop.
Quite the excavation to get into these ones over here on the other street, but that's not something we concern ourselves with, just whether or not it's possible.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's limits as to what we can address.
Yeah, I mean, that's, if it's something where if the city has to add their infrastructure, then it'll come up at final.
Right.
But definitely the one off Wheelock, that would just be a service line that the person developing would pay to have put in and connected.
So if Meredith, from past projects, talk of a hammerhead of some sort at the end of Roberts. I mean, there currently isn't one.
Yep.
But this would potentially be a requirement to,
So there's definitely, especially residential streets all around the city, where somebody got approval for a subdivision decades ago that
Didn't.
theoretically was supposed to have a hammerhead or a cul-de-sac or something at the end, and the parcels at the end never got developed, got sold off to other people who accessed them from different directions. And so those planned additions to the right of way or something else never happened, or they just were approved in a way that didn't account for the size of our current fire trucks.
Right.
Or maybe water and sewer were brought in later, and originally they didn't have water and sewer. So the new standards that apply when there's a new subdivision, especially a new subdivision where maybe a city street and infrastructure has to be extended, we apply the current needs and requirements. And there's definitely room for negotiation and discussion as to what really makes sense. But, so I can't, we'll need to have some, and I'm happy to facilitate discussions and have meetings with Department of Public Works as well as the fire chief, and everybody be together in the same room to have more discussions on those issues for that Robert Street access.
so, okay, that's great. I just see a logistical hurdle of it affecting another property owner. I don't think the hammerhead could go on.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that would be discussed. I mean, it might be a
Right.
extension of the right of way. Who knows? I don't know. It's
Well,
these are things that haven't happened that
Right.
often in
I
my
can see that.
7 years
I
here.
got it. I
Um,
can see that being a deal breaker.
yep, we
Well,
haven't had.
This is the purpose of sketch plan review.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, this is a perfect example of it.
And so, but before much more money is spent on your parts, I think talking about the Robert Street, having a discussion about that particular point of access, because it can count as your frontage, right? Required for subdivision, but doesn't necessarily have to be how you get vehicles in. If instead you say, well, it's a lot cheaper to have the vehicles come in over an easement over parcel 1. Because we don't need a hammerhead there or something like that.
Right. So,
So this will be just, we have to have multiple discussions, I
well,
think.
I mean, another scenario is with enough frontage. And it's just a driveway. You need a curb cut. Even though there's no curb, but. And that doesn't change the street except adding one more driveway.
Yep,
Is that,
I'm.
I'm just throwing out,
Yep, and so
theoretical.
I'm not the one who makes those approvals.
Oh,
It's
of course.
Department of Public Works and Fire Chief
Yeah.
that say about what specifically is needed there, in part based on what development would be there, right? So if you came back at final and said, we want the board to approve this on condition that for parcel 3, that's 3, right? The only thing going there would be a single family home, right? That's the most that can be approved there under these plans, because we're not doing a hammerhead turnaround, right? Maybe the fire chief and DPW were like, that works, that's fine. We just have to have somewhere where we can push the city can push the snow out of the way when they plow the road, right? That's where the board comes in, is being able to lay those kinds of conditions on a subdivision approval. Because that's the limit of what can be supported based on the current city utilities and services requirements and needs.
Makes sense.
Okay,
Thanks.
awesome.
Okay. We are through our project list for the evening, and we are now on to other business.
Thank you. There won't
Yep.
be a formal like record of this other than the minutes. But
The minutes are the record.
yeah, the minutes, right. The minute, I'm just saying there's no decision.
Yep.
You'll get that, you can get a copy of the minutes. Let me know. I'll get them posted, but reach out to me. Just as an FYI, I'm on vacation next week and the week after.
Good.
So I can't organize any meetings for those weeks. There's lots of other people on vacation too, but feel free to email me with some dates that might work for you guys after that. And we'll try and work out a time to have that meeting with the fire chief and DPW and get all of those ideas out on the table.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you all. Have a good evening. Do we still have Catherine and Brian on the line?
Yes, we do. Yay.
Still here.
Okay, we have minutes from the last meeting on the 7th of July that need approval. And let's see, do we have a quorum here for that? We may not.
We don't have 4 people that were at the meeting. We have 3 that were at the meeting, and technically you don't have to have all 4 of your board members that are voting match the ones that were at the meeting. I looked this up because we ran into issues with.
Yeah, we have,
But we have
more
3
than
of them.
once, more than once.
Yeah, but we have 3.
Yeah. And Kevin, I have read the minutes, even though I didn't attend the meeting. So it has to count for something.
That's good. That's good. Thank you, Catherine.
That counts for typo checking. which is important.
To be honest, I've had, I guess they're my issues with regards to approval without having been in attendance, but you've taken that burden right off my shoulders.
Looks right to me. So I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Okay. Is there anybody, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Brian. All those in favor of accepting the minutes, please say aye.
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 Okay, so we're done with that.
Other business.
Anything further, Meredith, or are we?
No, I'm just reminder that the next meeting isn't until August 18th. Reminder also, if you want printed copies of the regulations as amended on the 9th, email me and Nick. So we can print those out for you because it is a lot of pages, but otherwise you should be able to just download them from the website and the link that I sent you.
This is.
And so you'll be seeing far fewer sketch plans because that'll now be optional. And there's administrative subdivisions So, but we're also hoping that with some of the other changes, we'll actually get more projects. So hopefully some of the big stuff will be coming forward too.
We'll shake loose.
Yep, and I've
Sure.
gotten some queries about some developments about things that I hadn't seen shaking before, and people who already have, you know, engineers in line, so. Hopefully you guys will see some
Yeah.
new interesting stuff.
It would be good to shake that development tree a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we have concluded our business for the evening. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Catherine, Brian? I need a
Second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, everybody.